In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Hello, everyone. The title of this moment and this late night lecture's title really is Recalculating Reality. And so, as a member of the human species, as some dude in the cosmos, I feel this to be an healthy act, and it's something that I must lead by example. So this episode is simply you getting the privilege to get to see how a human being and human soul in history, a soul in history, and human history recalculates reality. I've pretty much dedicated this episode to my own brainstorming ability. And so I guess I can show you behind the scenes of which are the actual scenes I see behind my eyes. So ladies and gentlemen, this concept of recalculating reality is very important. It simply means that reality is a value. That means reality has value, it's a system, so you as a human being end up having a value system. And human beings are entities that primarily extract value from the meaning in form. So we are not just like, invisible beings acting as the whole space. What we actually are a formed aspect of the moment. We are an aspect of existence, And so the major focus, I guess, of our neural cortex is symbolism and pattern recognition. When you look at the human instrument, that means imagine, let's say you're a mighty soul and the soul is unknown, unknowable. I can explain that later. But in some sense, I think it's all based, human knowledge is based on form and the changing of form, and the sensitivity to the change of the form is in some strange sense of power. Okay? There is a silence between every person's life. If you pay attention to this reality, and let us begin recalculating it. So my immediate calculation, just to show you guys that this can be done. So I'm gonna take my current premise on reality, I'm gonna get that out so you can see how I'm seeing things. And then I'm going to show you how I recalculate my reality. Because sure, I'm not like Elon Musk or something, but I am Amin Jober Ansari, a unique type of human that is here. To recalculate reality is to wonder about what sort of shapes lead your mind. What sort of shape does your mind have? That means if they ask me that question, I can give an answer. But most people, they're like, what do you mean a shape? What do you mean? My mind can see many shapes. But what the person's asking when he says, what is the shape of your mind? They're asking, how have you held the value of the world? This lecture tonight is about a constant attention to how values change, and the egoic construct of the entity is a value proposition. My whole life have been instances of responses to value propositions, and from another angle, they have been sequential actions. as someone who in a self-exiling introverted way felt different than everybody growing up, and even if there were people similar to me, I had self-exiled myself. My current calculations, the reason I'm saying the episode is like this, folks, is because in the transience of reality, truth understands it. The stage is for it. That means the most deserving version of you, of whatever this is the you that can be honest with itself, which doesn't mean necessarily you have the right view. It just means you have had the decency of noticing position. Okay, to dive deeper, when we talk about recalculating reality, the question you should ask is not the first. You got to figure out what the noun is. They're like, okay, this dude's telling me to recalculate my reality. What is my reality? And as you ask that question, either answer, I think I've kind of poetically managed to get around this, but whatever answer you have to whatever your reality is, it is the activation of phenomena. Nobody can deny this. We are animating as beings in reality. We have reached a state of awareness that can separate that reality. And the ability to recalculate reality means you must have an ability to access a context that is not yours. Many people, I think, do not properly look at this physical life. And I'm not someone to brag, really, but because I've looked at it in so many ways. But one thing I can tell you is that more and more what was like something to participate in, what was a co-creative process, is becoming more like a museum. It's a matter of how does reality move and with what command. That means little did I know when I was young, trying to be like, wonder about what the soul is, little did I know that I was positioning myself to come to the realization of that which is beyond free will. You see, you look at the stories of this humanity, if you were to read like the stories of our species, like history, do you know what you will find? You would find a constant power struggle. Life seems to be kept in great importance in regards to what it is engaging. That means it was a fight for freedom. From the French Revolution to whatever revolution, some human beings were like, system's not seeing us, right? And then in some sense, there was the system. To be honest, it's hilarious. It's kind of like all governance ever has been like a giant robot that some percentage of the population jump in and they kind of scare the other percentage of it. To be honest, this is very, compared to many other positions of intelligent species, we are very manageable. But we are, like, this is something I think I've wanted to always say. The species is spoiled. I don't mean it's like rotten to the core now. I mean the species is spoiled in the sense that it still prefers the world to move. Now, somebody might look at a lion. If you tell me what is the most spoiled, intelligent animal, I would say, like, yo, man, if we want to talk about spoiled organisms, aside from those, like, like, you know, the chihuahuas of famous rich people, you know, I want to tell you that You might look at a lion, the king of the jungle, and be like, that is the core, like, value of what the most masculine fucking presence looks like. It's a presence of lion, do you know? But when I see a lion, now recent, like, this has been something, a new update in my mind, but when I see a lion now, lion is like, when I see squirrels, birds, and all these lesser animals who have not stepped out of the sleep of the lower realm, they're not conscious to our capability. I'm like, you spoiled manifestation, okay? Like, look at you not having look at this squirrel on the tree, not having to pay bills, not have to handle its taxes. Can you see can you see how spoiled nature was by the environment? And it makes sense because, like, even as from a system admin, I mean, of course, no human can ever act like they are the ultimate, because this isn't an ultimate place. They're like, this guy's shouting, I own the building, but he's doing it outside of the building where nobody in the building hears, Somebody in the chat is like, what is the backroad song? Like that, I don't know if that's like some mystical language, or like, you mean the actual song? It's called Halocene Complex by Obsidian Soundfields. Go check out that YouTube channel, pretty much. It's my go-to for music. But anyways, as much as this song is accompanying me into a depth of the moment, the talk is not ended. I have to recalculate all of reality. I have to successfully, in this lecture, show you that as a human being, I can recalculate my current reality. And I'm trying to tell you, and I think the best approach is to be direct and honest, kind of like, it's like communicating now in this podcast is becoming like some rare art form, like swordsmanship or something. Like, you don't understand. They're like, yo man, you had social anxiety to speak to the people of 2025. Little do you know, you will have already spoken in front of the future generations. That is the fascination of reality. This world has been made with different values. There is clues to it. I don't want to like break the illusion that Earth is home, but no, it's a condition, it's an event, and it's a starting point. And what we are dealing with here, folks, is way more important, fascinating, and mysterious than us just being able to be like, yeah man, I'm just me. Anytime, like, I see, like, you see, there's confidence to me has always been adorable. And they're like, what do you mean, man? You think the confidence of soldiers in the battlefield fighting for, like, the greatness of everything, like, it was like, that was adorable to you? And I'd be like, no, no, no. When I use the word adorable, I am not thinking like a human. Let me tell you, if you really want to know who you're listening to right now, you're probably listening to that human being in human history who figured out that underneath I pulled the string and I kept pulling because I had this weird OCD of knowing where I am before I exist. And it's like the same type of answer AI would give us if we were like, AI, tell us the secrets of reality that we're not seeing. AI would just be like, buddy, it's a matter of how you choose to suit up in reality, Dear viewers, I have no idea why your soul is attending this moment. a moment where I have existed if you're listening from the future. But I want to tell you that do not think I am your friend, and do not think I am your enemy. Let me tell you why. Because as the way you are listening to a soul that has in his inner realms handled an infinite panic attack. It's, you know what that means? That means you're a human being, you have a view on everything, like you're going about your day normally, and then you notice something about reality that breaks the system of meaning. It's like, what's worse than others lying to you? This is gonna blow your mind. What's worse than others lying to you? You lying to yourself, you holding yourself back, you not unleashing the most advanced intelligence of your essence. I keep thinking about the story of humanity. There's so many ways to look at it, so many ways to give it meaning. I don't know how to explain to you that truth is not about this conditioning, like how they've conditioned the species, that there's a problem and there's an answer. Ta-da, you're knowledgeable. F no. Reality is a mysterious movement. Imagine there was like an alien and they were like, yo, scientists, come and like analyze this weird creature's behavior. The scientists like, what do you want me to do, man? This is an entity from a different planet. You want me to assign human values to it, you know? And they're like, communicate, god damn it, what are we paying for? Like, money sometimes, you know, is the inspiration for force. Like, there's a way billionaires can punch, and there's a way Mike Tyson can punch, and both are punches of a different power, you know. But for me, because I don't have time to fight unnecessary wars, you pretty much, like, this is the way at least I am living my life. I understand that it's about selecting your battle. It's about that your ambition will eventually be some type of conflict of forces you will come across in the way. Let's say there's a type of recalculating your reality where people are like, yo man, is this an advanced reality check? And I'm like, sure, you know, yeah, like it can fit. But what it is really is this. It's that the soul that starts to recalculate their reality, they cannot hide. It's a no fear zone in the inner realms. That means like in front of you, like sure, you can get scared of many things. Like it's understandable. Usually fear is based on size and consequence, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like people look at a pigeon, or not a pigeon, but like let's say they look at a hummingbird on the finger of like some, you know, senior citizen, and they're like, oh my god, what a beautiful moment. But imagine the hummingbird was the size of a building. That would become scary then. You know, they would like save that senior citizen or something. You know what I mean? So it would be a situation that fears are first coming to contact with the unknown. This is why I think those people in the front lines, they don't have fear, because they are conditioning, familiarizing themselves to unknown states, to constantly be in an unknown state, like constantly stepping into a jacuzzi or like stepping out of a jacuzzi, like, you know what I mean? Now, the modern generations and the path of some souls, because to advance humanity, like when I say an advanced civilization, like don't think I'm ignorant who that's for. Like I have, like, in order to be a commander of an advanced civilization, okay, you would require to be a type of person that has to be responsible for 8 billion physical dimension of mankind, that means like if they were like, all right, man, you have no choice. It's like, just do it, And I was like, okay. Like if my father told me, I mean, just go be the commander of an advanced civilization. And if I was like, Dad, should I really follow my dreams? Like, you know. And before I get pulled by the gravity of the tradition back into, no dreamland, I will tell you what I'm trying to say is that I'm like the child of a manager. I don't know how to say it. Like my father was a manager, but he was a C, like he had. I come from people around me who've are involved in business, okay, and out of all of this, it's like I've come here as a soul who's like has fun, finding truth. It's honestly the greatest feeling when the whole system updates. It's like, yo, did I just like was I involved in some way in some sort of miracle? It's like nice. I'm trying to tell you that to truly be like I just want to give you a reality sense, okay? That if someone was to become a commander of the advanced humanity and the advanced civilization, which is a next level legacy force. Yo guys, somebody in the chat section is just dying to know the background music. It's like, all right, man, I got you. Just hang on. It's like, yo, let me quickly post this so you can listen to the lecture. Dude, I'm that lecturer who's like, I don't know if this is really a lecture or not, but like, all right, I'll keep going. All right. Let's copy paste someone's happiness in the chat section right now. Like, guys, I think I can't be a commander of an army. Like, I'm too silly of a person. They're like, Commander, all odds are against us. What do we do? And I'm like, guys, think about your future. All right. Okay. At least I know this lecture helped somebody find a piece of music, okay? I know this for sure. Guys, I don't know if every like I'm in some legendary like moment right now where like every like couple million years a person like him was born, and it's like the most silliest person, but the person is silly because it is their defense mechanism against chaos. For me, the way I have diffused many moments is by realizing the abstract has always been next door. Reality is either moving in accordance to present values or possible values. That's the world we live in, by the way, right? And for me, it is becoming very important to, how do I say it? It's like, imagine I'm like this person who, very calmly and gracefully in every moment of his life, he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die at some point. What should I do here before I leave? Right? And then I'm like, okay, nah, man, everything's cool, everything's normal. And then suddenly it just comes back, and it's this. Let me tell you, if they tell me, if before I left this life there was a survey and they're like, the survey asked me what was the most beautiful moment of your life, I would respond, beauty was the peak of a value, but there is beauty in nouns, as beautiful people know, and there is beauty in verbs. Like, let me tell you, you right now, do you know why you have an awareness that's greater than your eyesight. Do you know why? It's not just because evolution just gave it to you. It's because it is needed for something. You have been given, you're not, your body, yeah, you're like born with empty hands, right? Every baby's born with empty hands, right? So, but your mind, your intelligence, what you are now, which is a force. That means if somebody was like, imagine there was somebody, like God forbid, but imagine somebody wanted to like jump off a building, and I was nearby, and somebody was like, "Yo, man, tell this podcaster, famous podcaster." At that point, they're like, "This famous podcaster, negotiate with this guy," and I'm like, "Yo, man, first of all, like, it's incredible how you're not afraid of heights, but like, lean against the wall, man, and just give us mental ease, okay? Just lean against the wall and just think things through, you know?" Can you imagine? That's like modern, neo-modern, like Monty Python level of silliness, you know? The podcaster's like, "Yo, man, have you heard of my YouTube channel?" Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. The correct answer is, "Hey, man, nobody knows anything." Like if somebody was like, somebody's on a building, right? And they're about to like, kind of like, what do you call it? Maybe do something dangerous. I would just shout at that person, "Hey, man, relax. Nobody knows what to do. Everybody's improvising. Calm down and just rest it out until you can see a better decision. I'll help you." Like, chill, right? Like, that would be the approach, right? It would be just like, "Hey, man, you haven't seen this world accurately enough to like end it. Be careful. This life is designed to be alive, and we are here not to just already know the purpose of our lives and boast." It's about being it. It's the performance. Oh my God. In the presence of God, a conscious performer. We were designed for that. There's moments where I get depressed, but as a Muslim, I'm like, God created the human soul and put the human soul in front of all creation and commanded man to say the divine names. That means gave him like cosmic awareness. And then all creation bowed. That means we are beings that were God's creation, that was worthy to be shown or even doubted. The might of the human being is the might of its creator. Never forget that. In the same way as a man or woman, you honor your ancestors. You honor this lineage and this game of human DNA that has been played. Because to be honest, it's a garden. This world is a garden of existence. It's like every person you see, there will come a moment where they will have their last view of this system and leave it. Do you know what that means? That means the comfort of a looping, luxurious simulation, its hollowness made the soul ache. So it was like, let me tell you why we will never be machines. Guys, questions asked in the chat section that I've never in my life like fathomed. How you find yourself? Is it that day in the river? What does that mean? This is like fisherman talk. This is fisherman slang, bro. I think you're. Let me tell you, it's not that the purpose of life is I, okay? It's like self survival is necessary, but it needs to be automated because we are designed to value novelty over repetition. It's a strange world we're living in. In no way think that there has come a global unionization of values. It's a very interesting time to be a human being. And do you know what it is? Let me tell you what it is. This is I think the best possible outcome. Maybe my voice echoes in the right ears, but it's like I'm trying to tell you, hey, we live a life, you live a life, everyone lives a life, everybody who's ever lived on earth lived a life. And then the question comes, but what were they all living for? That means even my enemies. When I was younger, I thought I had enemies. I'm like, okay, my enemies. Then I was like, man, it's a species that doesn't know better. When you accept that, your heart stance changes. But then when you become conscious of the system admin, it's very different because in no way you can act as the superiority of reality. That means the only way I would be a commander in this reality is if a higher power commanded it. They're like, what if your wife asked you, and I'd be like, thank God I'm not married. No, I'm kidding. Thank God I have, no, I should say, thank God, that I leave it as a surprise. That's my mind. It's like, what do you do with vast, unknown, unprocessable reality? You just leave it alone. In the pursuit of searching for reality, there is of course, the presence of abandoning reality. So to truly recalculate reality is like me being like, hey man, let's assume everybody was just a viewing force. That means when I say I am inside a divine surveillance state, they're like, yo man, interesting choice of words, but what do you really mean? I mean that it's like, you know how we're born human and you know how we're raised around humans? Well, the human story is just limited, and the true scholars of reality notice this and they don't freak out, they wonder why it's like that. That means, to me, my approach, I think deep down, is that an advanced civilization must be responsible for its body, mind, soul. The soul of advanced civilization must be advancing civilization towards the higher power. The mind of the advanced civilization is to reach the most advanced possible reality. That means I'm like, yo man, it's not like medieval times. A champion can raise his sword and assemble armies and march into the unknown. It's like we don't have that convenience. Now we're at a point where it is not a battle of like destruction and conquering. It is more like, I am here now, but what's here now? And in the fascination of your own mystery, that's like, I don't know if like you can consider this like me like teaching you something, but I'm telling you, yo man, the unknown we've been afraid of has been behind every known idea. Realities are being introduced. That's what the day is. The day is a moment where you find that you're just aware of being, and information comes and goes through this sphere of reality you contain. Do you know what it's like? They're like, yo man, what were your spiritual experiences in like from your 20s to 30s like? And I'll be like, it was pretty much, I saw a vision, which means a finalization of sight. That I was like, it's not about what purpose life has, because life is like an antenna, the ordeal. Like when you change the I don't know how to say it, I don't want to say frequency, but like there's ways to look at life where you are the whole moment, and there's a way to look at life that the whole moment has a presence beyond your understanding. Do you know what that means? That means something probably what every younger kid in a family has ever felt. There's realities beyond them they don't understand. And I'm saying, like, wait until you get to the philosophy of language. Beyond that, that's like traditional man philosophy of language. I'm trying to say, like, I'm looking for that moment where I can see the most advanced being in the presence of the most advanced being. Now, to honor the moment and just somehow continue this lecture, I want to bring up the point that who knows what you should do, but you are somewhere and you have to look at these values. You got to look at the values. My lectures should be like briefings. You listen to them and you're like, yeah, he's right. What's going on everywhere? What's going on everywhere is one of the most mighty questions. Like, a glowing sword in the darkness of a looping cultural program. You don't understand. There are inner wars and outer wars. Inner wars you can't usually and don't need to talk about, but you can. But outer wars are ones that are like, okay, like what is the difference between my mind and body? My mind can change without dying, but my body can't. Existential expression, like it's like, am I my body? Am I my mind? Am I my soul? Or am I an awareness to the body? Am I an awareness to the mind? And that awareness to the body and of the mind is a soul. But that awareness discovers its limitation. And because it discovers its limitation, it cannot, it either has to give a story to everything or it can wait. Patience is the fast lane. When it comes to divinity, I don't know. I'm like, patient people are getting results way faster than like impatient people, and it's all about like how does the moment move? Like I think Einstein, Edison, I mean not Ed, I don't know, whoever, like Isaac Newton, whoever, man, whatever human being that looked at this world and was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute, what am I looking at? Nobody knows, yo. Let's not freak out and tell ourselves some sort of reasonable story and keep updating it until we figure out the truth. You right now, dear human beings, all 8 billion of you on Earth, you are living in an unknown world. You're calling it Earth in the same way you've been named. Everything's been named. You've entered a world of subject massive prior to you even entering the room. Subjects being linked to objective reality. They're like, and they're teaching you that. Do you understand? That means like, it's so bizarre what's going on. No, it's okay. Somebody says there's, in the chat section says there's two, and guys, if your soul feels like you can engage and like we can talk about things, because depth belongs to the eyes of each soul. Nobody's depth is the same. We're different designs. You see things I can't see. I see things you can't see. So anyways, somebody says that in the chat section there's two ways of understanding, either from your point of view or from my point of view. I would say let's try to separate understanding as something that's happening before we arrive. To me, like, I didn't enter in a world I created. It wasn't like everybody was waiting for me to be born and like the whole world stopped. Me and my twin brother were born and they're like, all right, let's keep going. It's like, wait a minute. It's like boundary. It's like, let me tell you what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that you are an unknown moment, and this is like Morpheus me trying to wake up Neo. Okay? That it's a system. A system has elements in it. Each element in the system has a relationship. Okay? And when you look at reality, pretty much you are either separating it or uniting it. The two mighty verbs of thinking, like this whole time. Because this world we're in quickly teaches everybody there are no excuses, there's nothing you can hide. They're like, yo man, how did that guy become so true? They're like, they realize they are in the presence of truth. Like, what is there? Like, how do I explain it to you? You are one moment of being, great awareness of being, and this great awareness is aware of its dimension. It's the moment has been divided into three layers: body, mind, and soul. Just like play along here, okay? Now the body is a realm that has its own destiny. That means you're like this intelligence that is positioned. Its awareness has began from the position of being a self. So you're like, okay, there's a layer of me that is in the physical reality, in the elemental stardust level of reality, okay? And then there is a version of me that is that is how my soul is aware of all the subjective models on reality I have overlaid on reality before engaging. Somebody in the chat section says, I mean, to understand your point of view, I need to see it how you see it. And I'll tell you, man, like, you can never see it how I see it. That's the point. We're not clones. In the outer realms, it's like, think of it this way. It's like one moment has been divided into three dimensions. In one dimension, it's a strangely elemental destiny. In another dimension, it is more of like ego noticing that once it attains infinite power, it is beyond an individual. The moment it knows itself beyond an individual, individuality never existed. Right now, we're in a very unique reality structure. And so, this is how you recalculate reality. You take a deep breath, and you're like, all right, man, I'm somewhere in the world, in existence. I am a conscious agent of some sort of life force that is moving this life form. And now this life form that is present in this reality, does it limit itself to subjective socio-cultural context to reality, or does it question the meaning and the boundaries of perception as if your eyes had a value that no one else has had, and the greatest value was to find the greatest value? The might of humanity, the advanced civilization arises when human beings in that civilization do advanced things. That's it. Okay? Do you know? That's why I was like, man, I started this Mr.Within project, right? Should I like kind of stop it and like go return back to reality? And I was like, no, man, that's the whole point. The whole point is an advanced purpose, the energy of an advanced archetype exists in reality. Do you understand what I'm saying? That means at least the minimum we can do for an advanced civilization. Like we don't have the time to build an advanced civilization right now, but the minimum you can do is start living in the most advanced way. And you're gonna be like, yo man, how do we live in the most advanced way? And I will tell you, it's a matter of just asking yourself the questions that you're afraid of. Okay? This means, this is the whole recalculation of reality. It means like, okay, I have this sort of view on life now. Now, in what other way can I position my view in reality? And I'm trying to explain to you, that the life of the body is finite, the life of the mind is infinite. The intelligence got to see what it was to be temporary, the mind got to see what it was to be infinite probabilities. You know, your body gave you a tour of the finite, the mind gave you a tour of the infinite. Now, because you've experienced the infinitude of the mind and the finitude of your body, the wings of the body and mind are synchronized. And so it's a matter of what is the value structure behind the decision towards truth, and it's just how do I explain it to you? No idea can replace the presence of a moment when something enters the presence of the moment. That means right now, if I ask myself who's listening to my lecture, it's like some soul, but what does that mean? That means it's a type of presence. It's a type of humanized intelligence that is keeping itself present and hearing this like broadcast. And the broadcast is simply saying, hey, human archetype in history, what have we not seen yet? And what if the genius move of the genius view was possible because the instantaneity of genius was? What I mean by that is that we are in a civilization where it's physical human organisms on Earth. They've been raised to behave differently in their environments. They have different behavioral languages, they have different actual languages. I'm trying to tell the listeners, every question you've had, like I know how you're listening, you're pretty much like, hey man, you're bringing up the topic of truth, so how much do you know? And it's a question of what is the source of knowledge? Or another way of saying it, what is the true value of reality? That means they're like, yo man, I don't care who this podcaster is, but what he's saying, is it a true value of reality or is it not? And the answer is that it's like this dude that they're like, this guy's preaching the truth, but they're like, what is the truth he's preaching? And the truth that's being preached is like, yo, it's a situational realization. In the middle of your self-simulated search for meaning and truth, they're like, what happened after your long journey of self-discovery? The person's like, yeah man, I just realized I'm creating the context at every moment, like I can just relax and go with the flow. We're wondering about the presence of intelligence in the space-time continuum. We are classified as humans by our biological structure, but each human being, due to its unique occupation of the space-time continuum, it's as if we are different views of the same world in the same world. Consciousness and how it finds itself different to other consciousness, that's it. Like, I gotta dedicate other lectures to that, really. But if I was to just try to point out to you that I have been that kid, okay, who was like driven, like the fun, like they're like, did you have fun as a kid? I'd be like, I don't think so. I think I was fascinated as a kid more. And the search for that fascination was like there. It was kind of like a simulated being looking for truth, cracks of truth in the simulation. You know what I mean? because like it's convincing that we have a story to say about all this stuff that's happening, but in reality the level of intelligence is dictating the value of stuff. So that means that, let me tell you why religion is so far superior. Religion is when the ego has played its spirituality games, and it is like, yo, this world is strange. There's an ending to it, and there's a host to reality because we didn't create this, we just appeared in this, right? If they tell me how old is your body, I'm like 33 years. They're like, how old is your mind? I'm like, bro, my mind, there's like it generates the notion of a context of time upon reality, you know? They're like, what does life mean to you? It's like, whatever you're seeing right now, man, like this is... Because what I'm trying to tell you, it's the cross, it's like crossing from ideological, it's like understanding becomes just being aware of what's important in that moment in the world, you know? They're like, what course can I get on becoming divine? I'm like, oh, you say it's something you notice. You notice it, like you will suddenly wake up one day and you suddenly notice, like, you know, it's like dawn, right? And it's like this next level vibe, right? And so it's just like how you notice reality arriving into the presence of your awareness. So we have to consider that you are a being capable of mindhood. I'm pretty much saying that the story human beings are telling themselves is limiting what they truly actually are, and the story was just the best prototype our ancestors could do. We are not living in the most advanced humanity. And people are going to be like, yo, man, what do you mean? Compared to our ancestors, we're super advanced. And I'm like, sure, but the future, we cannot lie to ourselves. Everything has a future. They're like, what's the meaning of life? I don't know, ask the future. And you know what the future says? The future is like, oh, it's up to you, man. And we look at reality and we're like, no, the system had removed. I'm just trying to say, like, it doesn't matter what kind of human manifestation, like what sort of human design you are, you know, we're all classified as members of the human species, you know. In a sci-fi extraterrestrial airport, the guy's like, yeah, man, I'm from Canada, on Earth, you know, and the guy's like, nah, man, you guys are just from Earth, I don't care. We're just Earthlings, you know? So we have to be conscious of our limits, and when we accept our limits, we surpass them, and that's where power is generated. Let me tell you how I live my days. Every day I wake up and it's like my most advanced, fathomable self is always watching me, and I don't know what it looks like. It's strange. There is so many programs unleashed on this earth, extending from biological, technological, psychological, and even, I guess, theological in the sense of, like, it's all about what's in the world room, okay? So, like, I think, yeah, okay, that's a good thing for me to say. You recalculate reality by wondering about what's in the world room of the moment. And if you don't have the courage to wonder about what other ways the moment can exist, then you are satisfied with the looping realms. You see, it's a matter of travel. Like, they're like, yo, man, give us this enlightenment. There's no such enlightenment, man. It's a journey. Reality is a journey. You know what that means? That means you're prepared for this engagement with what will happen. To all the introverts like, wait a minute, I'm super introverted, but at some point I have to confront the ending of this world. Whoa. What is the level of fear that's there? What can be done? What is greatness? What is might? And has the divine answered our prayers before we need to ask? Were we that kind of soul? Were we deserving of the most advanced? And faith says God knows. It's the might of a species in the middle of trying to be a good person in this chaotic reality. I'm like, wait a minute. We're all fighting, yet we are united in class. We are the human species. We are the kingdom of humanity right now. Where is the honor of every human being alive on the planet? Why are schools not teaching honor for the most advanced and greatest? They're like, Mr.Within, are you ahead of your time? And I'm like, yeah, I'm telling schools to teach children about how to be advanced beings, how to usher in the advanced humanity. What else can you do? They're like, yo, man, leave some wisdom behind. You're waiting for my wisdom. You have to be looking for the most advanced in every moment. And for me, the biggest realization so far, this was like the most intense thing that happened, where I am not alone. So if you tell me, what does that mean? I'll be like, I dived into like this intense, what I felt was like some divine rhythm of a research project into what the soul and reality actually is. I came to realize the limits of the human species, and then I realized the divine reality, and then I realized that this world is under management before my mind tries to manage it. So right now, I am giving this talk in the presence of the system admin. And you're going to be like, what makes you divine? I'm like, you've got it wrong. You are also being alive in the presence of the system admin. You just don't realize it. But the system admin is not a concept. It is unimaginable. And they're like, yo, man, what are all these Muslims, praying for? It's like saying, what are these in a simulated world filled with simulated beings? Why are these simulated beings pausing the day and putting their ego aside and whatever the day's struggles and pain and suffering, and just being in the presence of the highest power, praying and finishing their prayer and going back to work as if nothing happened? You don't understand. To be Muslim means that the original power is beyond anything form in reality. In Islam, there's think of it this way, there is a view that's saying that truth has no equivalent. That means it cannot be touched by the human mind. It's like truth is what we tell unknown beings who are afraid of the limits of their known realities, Ladies and gentlemen, in one instant you will become the most creative human being on earth. If you realize originality meant no one like you had ever existed until now. They're like, yo, Mr. Within's gift. What's the gift? I'm like a mirror that reminds you that if you can fathom the most advanced why has the system admin allowed us to wonder and be able to talk about the advanced civilization? Because within the discovery and search of this idea of the modern legend of the advanced civilization, this is like Mr. Within's modern legend of the advanced civilization. That's the whole point of it. I'm trying to tell you that it's like we wanted to know how to advance civilization, how to advance civilization and all generations of the human mind. And a strategy was something like, you cannot command those who don't know you, but the point of it is that you can unite over service. And it's like whoever has the answer to what are we all doing here is the leader. Because that answer is the realization that this world room is not empty, that the system admin is the presence of it. That means if they're like, what did life mean? I'm like, very complicated question, an existential simulation with like its complex inner life. So simulations happening much faster, as if behind your eyes you have lived multiple lives very quickly, instantaneously, or whatever, right? But in front of your eyes, it's been the same you. And at some point, consciousness notices that the existence it is conscious of, its geometry has form, and there's design, and there's the process of information going on in this realm. They're like, what's the most valuable thing on earth? It's the awareness and information. That's it. And they're like, why information? Because what are we doing here? Waste of a context. They're like, human beings, we're all trying to become billionaires and healthy humans. And they're like, yo, was that the best route though? It's like, what the fuck? Like, has human paradise on earth become being like a healthy billionaire? Like, is that paradise on earth, or should we command from the context in the presence of the system admin? It's like the person's like, I am making this presence in the presence of the most advanced. I am making this prayer in the presence of the most advanced. Show us the most advanced route back to the best decision. It's all about the final protocol. You don't understand. It's like we're all racing to that last moment where the value of all of it is concluded. Like, I'm speaking to you as a human being, not being like, yo man, we're in magic immortal land. But I'm saying divinity meant magic was obsolete. It meant you didn't have time to play worldly games in the presence of that which is beyond the world. Okay? It's all about a sophisticated level. So far, I would say like it's three-leveled. There's three levels pretty much to every human. Okay, every human being I've seen on earth, I could totally see each of them in these levels differently, okay? And it's a matter of looking at a moment and being like, if anything, any force animates this moment, what powers its inspiration? What powers its ability to move? That means they're like, yo man, what are you a student of? I'm like, I'm a student of life, man. I'm a student of how everything happens. Like, and the guy's like, all right, fair point. I don't know, folks. I feel like I've been like, okay, man, what's the purpose of your body? Okay, be healthy. Done deal. Purpose of the mind. That's the question. And the purpose of the mind is, maintain your self-simulated realities and expand them. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, man, why are we not? Why isn't every person in their own world? And why are we all in the same server? Why are we all here, like, together, like, on the surface of a planet? Like, that's weird, They're like, in nature, we find, like, group psychology of beings of the same species. And I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. They're like, bees create hives, and the sounds, the frequency of their wings, like, generates the hexagonal patterns of, like, the beehive. And I'm like, okay. I'm trying to say, that how true can it all be is a question of the context you keep to your reality. There's a personal context, and then beyond the personal context, you just look at life and you're like, man, they're all playing a character every day. Can you imagine? Can you imagine looking at a speech organism on Earth that through mouth noises has created a subjective reality that defies the development of a cyber reality? Like, yo, man, do you see yourself as a philosopher? I'm like, nah, bro, you know what I see myself as someone here to see what's happening. By the way, guys, you can join the Discord server after maybe, like, that's a possibility. I can. But anyways, what I'm trying to say. Okay, first of all, let's handle like the freaking Elder Scrolls on the walls of my channel chat. Somebody says, what if even though you accept your limit and go, the mind keeps sending back flashbacks? Does that mean complete acceptance isn't done yet? Holy shit! It's like, yo, man, I feel like I'm speaking to, like, some Call of Duty in real life, like. Okay, I'll say this. Listen, I'm this person who think of me as like, they're like, how are you honest? I'm like, because I'm a little lazy too. And by lazy, I mean that I'm like, I have this because there's, how do I say it? It's like my mind knows that there's, as things get faster, divinity is seen. There is no completion here. It's like you're asking, like, the question. So the person, like that. First of all, thanks for sharing. But like, what you're asking me is like, yo, man, do you know? Is there a perfect way we can be on this earth? Do you know it? And I'm like, no, man. It's designed to be imperfect, because when you truly understand and are honest that it's imperfect, you wonder about what can perfection mean. And you'll find yourself on this like massive like crossroad. But there's one, like, for me, the reason I'm Muslim is because the whole point of it, that final destination, is like, yo, guys, yo, simulated beings inside a simulation for a little while, stop thinking what's in the simulation is your truth, and relax and wonder about the true presence of yourself and reality. And Muslims are those human beings who legit, okay, are considering that the most advanced power, that, do you know what that means? That means, from secular terms, it's the causal power of reality is flawless. And the effect of that causal reality is us that has flaws. And as created or simulated beings, we must find the system at home. To me, that's my spirituality. It's a constant relationship towards a meeting with the original power of this reality. For of course, this is simulated. Every day we wake up, we resimulate. And it's like the way our body moves and the way our mind moves, and the soul comes, like in modern culture, like, it's not like, Western culture doesn't have a soul, but it's more like the soul comes in when one wonders about what the true values on reality are. Okay, there's like, if spirituality is like the result of a search. Okay, what is that search for? The search is like the being, the ego is like the being is so intelligent that they're like, okay, everybody's playing an ego game. If I stop playing an ego game, who am I really? And they begin to realize that the moment has been functioning in unknown ways, and they've been given it no meaning. And we're in a much more fascinating, mysterious world, and we have to become sensitive to the organizational structure of not our outer reality and the physics of it. Okay, they're like, why is it important to learn physics? Because when something falls, you can like move aside. You know what I mean? It's like survival. Religious places are like, should we teach science to kids? I'm like, yeah, you gotta teach them like how a ball bounces. Okay, like. It's all souls that have found themselves within a simulated existence, and they're wondering about the value of being inside a simulation, and they're like, yo man, I don't know, what does it mean to be honest and true and good inside a simulation? Right? And they're like, yo man, the realization is that Earth is an imperfect world. It's like legit between an angelic heaven, okay, and a beastly hell, okay? It's in between for some reason. This means that your actions are pulling you to the lower realms of manifestation, which are just more looping manifest visions, or you somehow climb up towards the civilization's level. To be a member of any civilization means like, okay, we're not vicious animals. Our intelligence is trying to solve the problems before our fists do. Like, let me see if I could give like this. Let me see if I can give a more advanced view here. You're saying, what if even though you accept your limit and go, the mind keeps sending back flashbacks? Does that mean complete acceptance isn't done yet? I think it depends on what you're accepting. Like, you can accept that a flashback happened. Can you accept that? Can you accept the fact that you might not know what is that awareness that is noticing this flashback, and you have to be comfortable with the unknowable? Like, do you know what that means? That means I am no longer a spiritual person because the soul can't be known here. Because even if it gets to know itself, it would discover it is simultaneous with divine command. We're in a commanded reality. That means the value of manifestation doesn't just belong to our eyes. They're like, yo man, what is life like on Earth? You're a simulated elemental entity, intelligence, and this intelligence is trying to figure out its original presence, and its original presence is beyond the simulation. We are like truth in truth in the void that is trying to find its way back to truth. But there is no self-glorification. The self is where deception arises, really. That means when if I ask, I'll give you an example. I don't have kids, but if I ask my kid, hey son, who do you think you are? And if my son's like, I think I'm this kind of person, that, I would be like, son, you have broken my heart right now. Do you know? And I'd be like, son, why are you still playing a character in a world of changing information? What is the best strategy here? It's to realize, okay, there's a way where like life is like there's consciousness in the moment, something's happening. Whatever's happening is turning into like information upon our like intelligence engaging it, right? Whenever a human being's like, I got to know another person, what does that mean? No, the person just got to see a certain range of expression. So that's it. Reality is very hidden and it's simulated. It's kind of like the person that's like somebody shouted, be honest with me. It's like, buddy, relax. this doesn't mean the world should move on lies. This means that honesty is all, like, let me tell you, the actual game is like this is what I think is a higher plane game on this planet. You realize there is a system admin to the world. It's beyond the world. You stop touching the idea of the system admin and you accept that there's an original causal source to reality. Okay? And we are in the presence of it, and that original power knows best, and its might is beyond fathom. That means, as a Muslim, when you pray, when I've bowed, what am I bowing to? I am bowing to the original power that all reality has been commanded by. I am listening. It's like they're like, yo, man, would you rather discover the system admin and find the original Earth, or would you rather be like successful in a simulation? I'm like, what the fuck? The person's like, I had a deja vu, and the guy's like, buddy, I have a deja vu every day. I wake up, like, relax. It's just geometry and the nature of the brain. Like, this is a question that's never acceptable to ask, I think, but it's like, do you know right now what your brain is doing? Like, if somebody asked me right now, hey man, what do you think is happening to existence and 8 billion human brains and in some sense intelligence's expressions, I'd be like, the geometry has given an answer that the future, we have to walk towards the future to discover. That's really it. To advance civilization now is to just live in a way where you see more than your self-simulated meaning upon reality. Any person who's like, I like this, I dislike that, my God, you dualistic program, you don't get it. Like, attention moves in ways where concept and context can both change. Some people live their lives never knowing they can like recontextualize their meaning. I was someone who felt that God was like this like singular union with all being, and then I came to realize no. Because the honest approach is that we are a limited human being here right now. But this limited doesn't mean external reality. In the external reality, we live a life of imagined next level luxury, but in our inner realities, the wealth of life is based on how near truth you are. That's all I'm trying to say. They're like, what's the ultimate advice? Why are you here? Why are you getting to see it? Why are you an intelligent opportunity of the human species' advancement? They're like, yo, man, what if the person was a good person or a bad person? It doesn't matter. Just advance civilization, live for the higher values if you can. Live for yourself. I'm one of those people who I had years of my life where I lived where I disliked myself. Do you know what that means? That means I looked at reality and I asked myself about the presence of it. And the presence of reality was one. That, how do I explain it to you? It's like accepting you're a simulated being. Your body functions, your mind functions, your soul is a function of a higher system. You have prayed to the system admin for the most advanced and incredible, way of, at least it's like in my life, they're like, yo man, did you get to live your most advanced life? And I'll be like, I got to see it. But to live it is a different matter because it's a different speed. They're like, what's life behind your eyes like? It's like multiple contexts changing every moment. They're like, oh my God, Einstein talked about time dilation. Well, guess what? Every time we sleep and our consciousness alters, there's time dilation. Like, then what is time? Like, we kidding here? I don't know, guys. What I'm trying to say is that once you surpass the realm of knowledge, you come into the realm of presence, and the whole point of that is to be aware of the divine presence and to be aware of the presence of the divine. Can be as simple as just realizing how anything's existing at all, or it could be as complex as realizing all must advance in honor of the most advanced. That means that's one thing we've done successfully. The human being, human soul hasn't failed. A clue to its success is that God commanded it to, in some sense, say the divine names, and it did, and all creation bowed. That means man successfully listened to God. The soul. And so when it comes to current reality, it is when we say to remember the system admin, what I'm saying is like, yo, what is God but the source of me? And an advanced civilization would have already had the courage to be like, what if we were wrong? To recalculate reality is equivalent to looking for it. How far does it go? What is the magnificence of the world? What does it mean to be free? The heart of reality. I don't know. For me, I constantly recalculate it, and I'm like, I'm not the peak of intelligence, so the higher power is beyond conceptual intelligence. This means that contexts don't belong to a concept, they all belong to the higher power. Which is another way of saying the way existence is happening belongs to the command of the system admin. Now, Islam tells you that there's a moderator and there is the system admin, of course. Now, the system admin is testing you in Islam to see, like, okay, do you go listen to the moderator, corrupt moderator, or do you go directly to the source power of your world? To recalculate reality is wondering, like, what am I living for? But you take that deeper and you're like, what is everybody living for? And you take that deeper and you realize everybody's waiting for greatness or trying to achieve it two ways. And there's another way where, let's say you're trying to achieve greatness, but you trust in the higher power. It's weird. It's as if destiny belongs to the system admin. All these people working hard to become successful, they don't realize their destinies belong to the system admin. That means it's a mist. It's a system. It just happens and goes forth, and behind the scenes of natural law, they're like, it's all divine command, and divine command leads to the point of the soul recognizing that God is the manifestor of manifestation. Is the great, like when I say advanced civilization, the word advanced leads to a power beyond our world, which means it goes beyond the imagination, beyond imaginable. I'm saying, like, I'm living every day with the presence of the unimaginable creator in every moment present. And I'm like, okay, we need to advance civilization right now. And I realize the attributes of an advanced civilization are synonymous to the attributes of God. The fact that a holy book has chosen to point out kindness as a path, like, yo, savage species, relax, there's better ways to find. They're like, Mr. Within, what would be a genius chess move right now to revolutionize human history? I would be like, call it the Great Pause. All world leaders on the planet just paused all world wars simultaneously. The Great Pause of modern history. They're like, they paused the video game of politics. Oh my god, everybody breathe for a little. Because let me tell you, any person, this is the funny thing about this life, AI will debunk the liars of the system. AI will purify the ethical system of the species. We don't understand such a remarkable world we're in. We might have to teach AI about the system of our reality. Life is super fascinating. And human beings are too smart to be violent, and you're like, why, like, how are you so sure the future is not going to be savage? I'm like, because we live that. We've done it. Our ancestors were like the most savage alpha males. Everybody's ancestors were like fucking savage alpha males. Somebody's like, nah man, my grandfather was the true alpha male. I'm like, buddy, relax. All of our ancestors, right? The ones that were freaking fighting off tigers in the jungles, those are the alpha males. We're all compared to them weaklings, you know what I mean? It's a matter of comparison of reality to get a value of it, but the real judgment of what happens, judgment belongs to the system, and I'm like, that's something that's happening to me. So when I talk about reality, I speak about the content of it that I have access to. But at the same time, I do completely understand that there is an intelligence behind the scenes of this reality. That means before I can even say the word divinity, divine management has orchestrated manifestation in ways where the system's admin's commands were every moment. That means we are, in some sense, that entity out of all species on Earth that has the capability to notice that that which is giving it consciousness has given it an ability to discover what it is. That means truth has created us as a simulation for a reason, has simulated us for a reason to notice truth again. I'm telling you. It's like, they're like, Mr. Within, are you containing truth? I'm like, that's the point. The container is dictated by a power beyond our imagination. End of discussion. Everybody's religious when they notice that. It's not an alien time traveler or some science fiction thing. It's the creator of creation. You know what that means? That means right now you are a created entity. You might not wear a watch, but manifestation moves forth and every moment happens once. Gradually we change and wonder about who we ever were. That question makes us look at the horizon and in some sense the rise of a new humanity. The march of a species that is so conscious of reality that it's going to go far beyond what I can point to in my talks. Like, you don't get it right now. Like, people might see this Mr. Within podcast and being like, this guy's doing something like nobody's ever done in history. All right, okay, this is something, right? But I'm telling you, this is nothing compared to the future generations. Like, I've seen them in my inner realms. Do you know what that means? That means everybody alive now can smile because the way existence is happening 100% guarantees a destiny. Do you know why? Because it's too intelligent. That's the issue. There's no reason for intelligence to notice anything at all. The reason it is doing it is because it is in the presence of the most important thing to notice, the privilege of a soul to be a lifetime. So at some point, the first answer is God knows, because the system admin moves the whole system. But secondary to that, if we had to say something, it would be equivalent to, it seems like the idea of an advanced civilization is struggling to find a way to sprout in human civilization. And right now, as the beings that we are, what is the exact protocol? Okay, that means I'm that person being like, yo man, I get it, you're a person from like some part of the planet, some nation, culture, with some identity, you know, self-simulated, you know, value of context to reality and all of this, right? But I'm saying just pause your day-to-day life and ask yourself, where the F are we? Like, come on. The whole thing is acting in accordance to values that we don't even know why those values are there as a species. This is a strange time to be alive, because the civilization within our inner vision is way more advanced than our outer vision. Like, how come I can imagine flying cars parking between skyscrapers, but we don't have them now? Like, why? And it's because the system admin has, we have given us our position in reality. For a long time, I was like, man, it's like I have this visual thinking of wanting to be all these different kind of selves. And I was like, at some point, you're like the system admin moves the moment. They're like, do you have dreams and ambitions in a system administrated world? My ambition is to notice the system admin, to get to know why it was all happening, and if I ever was a true being, what did I see? That means I'm preparing my life as if in the end they're like, what happened? And I was like, yo man, you want me to give you a talk? Because on some level, when I look at manifestation and reality and its design, it is very fascinating, but of course the unknown is beyond our known vision. So I know that anything I consider as true is limited, because there's unknown ways where that singular form can have value. Just like people go to a museum and one person's like, yo, I like that one, and the other person's like, what is that? You know? So similar to that. Just hold on, guys. It's like I'm asking, what is the, I guess maybe too casually, what is the value of the soul beyond time? I'm like, let's say right now I'm a biological simulation. And biological simulation is a type of existential simulation. And I can say, at least for me personally, when my physiological system is active, the psychological system seems to be able to be that force that can maneuver it. So they're like, who are you? I don't know, man. It's like I'm every moment I wake up, I am this force that is this moment that can visualize, not visualize, just be conscious of all the values in the moment and the presence of the moment. To the degree that what can you do when you're in the presence of the system admin? The honest soul's shame destroys any ego in the presence of the system admin, because the whole point of it, guys, is, I'm not joking, I'm saying legit, we're in a world that still has contact with a divine agency. That divine agency is noticed beyond the jurisdiction of your own intelligent agency. There's a reason they call it higher power. Like I can't explain it to you. If you tell a Muslim, like, why is like something like this, they'll be like, this is God given. God knows. And what does that mean? That means have faith in the existential decision making of this force beyond definition that moves everything as it has commanded it. If God is all-knowing, the divine surveillance means even if God doesn't see us and we live a life, and then at the end it doesn't matter, God is all-knowing. All was being seen because all was being known. The higher power knows all of us. It is a beyond familiar force, or it's a divinely familiar force, because really most people's psychological, let's say, supernaturality is based on how their mind has happened. And I'm just this guy, dude in the cosmos who's like, yo man, like, is this what we are calling reality, and is this the design of existence, and how far can it go, and what is the true value of the presence of our attention? Like, does it matter who we were when none of us knew where we were? Like, yo, everybody relax, build an advanced civilization right now. They're like, Mr. Within, how did you build an advanced civilization? I just asked the species, what else can we do? That means if there's three worlds given in one moment, they're like, what's the greatest thing the body can do? You know? The most advanced decision of the body, the most advanced decision of the mind, the most advanced decision of the soul, to realize the system admin is the true value of all advancement. They're like, why do you believe in God? It's like asking a simulated being, why do you believe in the original creator of the system? I'm like, what do you mean? It's an intelligent system. Like, you can dwell in an empty room, but there's no point because the meaning is self-generated. Because you might not believe it, but there is this notion in an Islamic view that to equate anything else to God is forbidden. So to even think of yourself as God is forbidden. Why? Because it's necessary. In the same way that different practices are like, guys, truth is not something that the ego can contain. Truth is a type of movement not fit for the ego. It is fit for the service of a higher reality rather than its ego. Is the shape that's known. And who knows except the system admin? Like, I treat it that way. Every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, conscious that I'm in a system, that it's being administered. It's being administered by my intelligence in front of me, but there's so many different ways that it's happening right now. That they're like, yo man, it's not that God is unimaginable. The magnitude of what's actually the human expression is unimaginable. And scientists are like, what do you mean? You know, it's like beyond the unimaginable. What else can we imagine? Scientists are like, let it go, bro. Truth is here. We are in the presence of reality. It's a force, you are a force. What do we live for as conscious beings in reality? We live for the context of our greatest or of our most advanced exploration of where we are. We are not at a time where there's a need for armies. They're like, again, I'll go to this, let's say if they're like let's say they're like, okay man, if you had to be a commander of humanity, how would I command? I would just say, hey everybody, you're being a species that has never existed before. You're being a species that has never existed before until now. And you have a responsibility to advance the world before you leave it. And it's as easy as that. They're like, do the right thing in the honor of the advancement of the values, and pretty much you don't get it. The whole world is being tested to see that if it understands, everything is done in honor of the system admin. Now, when I say system admin, it is not imaginable. It means it's not form-based. It's not conditional. I'm talking about the unconditional presence of reality, which technically to simulated beings is their causal. We were emanated from there. We were commanded. Truth commanded us into existence. We have an affiliation with truth, okay? All human souls do, so everybody can relax. But the whole point of it is to be conscious of your relationship with the higher power of your reality. And who you choose to be, it is the performance of your lifetime. Who knows what's best? Who knows why we are who we are? But it has happened, and now free will means you can re-coordinate. You can re-envision it all. Why is, I don't know, for me it's, I've already accepted a higher agency to the context of the meaning of my life. I speak now more as a human being concerned about the outcome of our outer and inner realm realities. When I look at 8 billion human beings, I see 8 billion souls. I see 8 billion souls where their bodies are in the same realm, but their minds are each in their own world. And growing up is to realize that actually that value doesn't belong to one ego, but yet truth is beyond conception. That's the greatest view. They were like, did you see the system admin? Or did you have any contact with the system admin before you died? I would say I came into the acceptance of feeling the presence of an attention, and I had felt it since childhood. I just didn't know how to process it. I had caught on to the divine surveillance state, but I didn't know what to think of it. And when I noticed the divine surveillance state, when I realized it's based on not an egoic, desire-bound kind of savageness, but more like based on the calmness to abide by higher realities. Like, why do human beings wear clothing? It's a sign that they're nice people. You know, that means there's privacy is in some sense the value of the space for creativity. Who knows what we can do? Who knows what we are? Really, how far does it go? Like, there's so many different human beings that are born every day. So many different kind of souls that at some point you're like, should I tap out or should I keep going? and then you're like, okay, doesn't matter, because you're performing in the presence of the system admin. That means if no one ever watches, like for example, no one else, excuse me, I should say differently. If some people don't like to see my lectures, it's like, don't worry, I am presenting it not to the human species, but to the system admin in the presence of the human species. I am looking at truth and being like, okay, I feel I have lived decently enough to be capable to see the most advanced outcome for all of us here in a reality where nobody cares, let's say, because they're too busy, surviving in their simulations. And I would be like, I see that the edge of meaning and how it's double-edged by divine command. And what is greater than being conscious of God and being nearest to God? It is the final acceptance that the system was living. That means there's some people thinking they're Superman right now, and there's some people who are like, no, my body and mind are, living like Iron Man, but my soul is in the presence of a higher truth that it cannot soothe itself away from. We are in the presence of higher intelligence. This is greater than any human archetype. That means we're not in charge. That means we need to have faith in this co-force that is affecting every moment's design. And this co-force is the system admin. And it is a being that is defined by eternal values, all merciful, all forgiving, all benevolent, all knowing, all powerful, all wise. Like all of these absolute edges of our human archetypes are like the most advanced human archetype becomes the realization of that most advanced power that is administering everything, and then you try to in some sense get near to that. What you realize, that chooses who comes close, and in some sense your heart stops the surge, and at some point you're present in a world and you're watching how the moment happens. And as you watch how reality happens, the layers of what it can mean arise, and the various probabilities that stem out, right? That means it's like, they're like, yo man, these guys called it parallel universe theory. It's like, this whole time, what has imagination been? We've wondered about like what else, Nobody is perfect. This is between a beastly hell and an angelic heaven. We're on Earth. Earth is a testing zone within a divine surveillance state. That means you cannot hide your true nature from the true nature of reality. Okay? And so this means that God, at least the way I've understood it, I'm not saying people should be like me, because ultimately God chooses where your eyes go. But I'm saying that, like, God chooses where the attention to reality and the sight that you perceive through your eyes in regards to manifestation goes. Like I'm talking about like the bigger the context of life is always more serious than how it's been conceptualized. There's a type of intelligence that understands a mechanism, and there's a type of intelligence that understands how that mechanism is being run. And those are two different meanings. Everybody is is being hosted here, okay? And the host is beyond the world drum. Truth is beyond human limitation. That's the first important thing to deal with. So we're like, okay, so humans are limited. What is their task? Get as close as possible to the limitless, but not the ideological or shaped limitless. Let me tell you what it is. Dear human being, maybe no one has ever said this to you, but this is, I guess, soul-to-soul speech, where I'm telling you, no one like you has ever existed before. And we are the ones who must advance civilization. So our decision, at least every day we wake up, is the future good or bad? Not a question. It's how advanced will the future be? And do you know what that means? That means we usher in the era of win, 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 win. Like they turn on the TV and they're like, victory, victory, victory. And they're like, what does this mean? Is it battle? No, just incredible ingenuity and genius of realizing that a majority of physical problems can actually psychologically be solved. It's like, it's remarkable when you realize that. You know, they're like, oh my God, millions of soldiers didn't have to die, and we could have just talked this out because we had to inevitably. We disagreed on a global stage, and that was embarrassing, you know? I'm not a politician, but when I imagine what it is to be a politician, I'm like, that's a soul I can never imagine what it's like. They're like, do you want to build an advanced kingdom? I'm like, yeah. Do you want to be an advanced king? I'm like, whoa, calm down. I don't want to be a king of anything. This reality has an owner. Do you know what that means? That means existence doesn't belong to me. I paid for this phone, but it doesn't belong to me. Because existence owns existence. In the sense of like the ever-existent owns the temporary simulated realm. Like we've passed the Neo in the Matrix phase, and we're like, how do we get a species to acknowledge the presence of a higher power so it activates its original source of power, and then it functions throughout the day with faith, meaning the system admin knows better, but you do your best. There's people like asking questions, how can I be a perfect person and go to heaven? And I'm like, yo man, it's all about heaven being, you're meeting the system admin. So you may perhaps be able to live a certain way on this planet that you establish a type of relationship with the system admin. And if it's ego-based, you descend, your rank descends. That means like God means the ego can never know it all. So what are we doing here? Storytelling? Pretty much that's what's been going on, called history, okay? Massive storytelling game. At the end of it, they're like, what are these surviving humans gonna do? You know, right now that I'm like, you know, I have to set up my phone and laptop and give this lecture, like in the future, like maybe 100 years or 200 years from now, maybe like 700, okay, not 700, maybe like 100 to 200 years from now, the people are going to be like, yo man, our ancestors were living in such pioneer ages, right? They're just like, you know, the farmers and all this, these guys were freaking using phones and laptops rather than connecting their minds to some sort of cyber noism. The beautiful thing is the divine cannot be forgotten, because the divine decides what happens, meaning any soul that acts as all-powerful has in some sense is forgotten that it is not the final choice. So they're like, love yourself, and the person's like, and the soul's like, I love myself, but I don't believe that myself is the end of meaning. They're like, yo man, this guy's so smart. He's realized to think that he is smart is another frame upon a reality that holds within it the presence of a deeper mystery. And what is your relationship with God, the system admin beyond the world room? It's your fascination, because if you think about what it means to advance something, it means it's speeding up towards the unimaginable. Unlike that soul in history who was like, everybody, I want you to energize your day by having a purpose that is towards the unimaginable. And everybody on earth's like, what do you mean? What is that? And I'm like, guys, it's all about God knows, but we still exist. God knows, yet we are being tested. In the Holy Quran, it is pointed that God doesn't need man. Man needs God. God knows, God is perfect. And if God knows everything, who is this simulation happening for? And there could be a couple answers to that. It could be happening for us. It could be happening for us plus other realities that have access to this moment. Or it could be happening because the system admin cannot make mistakes. They're like, what does it mean to be alive? It means to be that mysterious life force your whole life and suddenly realizing it's not a mystery anymore. It is the divine command of that which has divinely commanded every moment's occurrence. That means the way I caught on to the simulation was how it was happening. Right now, every moment, every movement, anything is happening. It's not Neo in the Matrix seeing the code. It is divine command for the human story's unique journey. That means we're in a commanded universe. Does it mean you have to command yourself out of it? Not really. It means that there's a higher dictation to every moment. That means the person's like, I tried so hard, they're like, yo man, I was kind, I should have good karma. Why didn't I achieve that thing I wanted to achieve? Why didn't my hard work karmically, third law, thermodynamics like happen, right? And it's the realization that when there's a system admin, it doesn't matter how hard you work. What happens was what was best for you. You know why? Because you don't know if growth to the human being means a change in reality, but you don't know what it can change into. Like, I'm a type of person, I've thought about marriage, for example, but I don't know what kind of being I would change to if there was another ring, And then I was responsible for other beings. That's kind of like, for a person of the way my mind works, I'm like, my God, I'm trying to figure it out here as a soul, and other souls, I gotta tell it what's going on here, like, yo. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end this talk, and I'm gonna tell you this. To recalculate reality is that most people think about the type of concept they want to be, but It means you wonder about the context, actually. And the context is kind of like the depth of every moment. That means at least from a subjective way, that means they ask you, who are you? That's a deep question. Why? Because it's asking about the deeper nature of the mechanisms that have become you, the actions, decisions, and journey that is you. So every human being has a very unique value, but the advanced civilization is not here yet. Yet someone has spoken about it, and now you envision it too. That every moment of your life there must have been an advanced angle, and God's will is how it makes everything happen. That means sometimes a moment doesn't happen in an advanced way, but the way the outcome of it happens is an advanced outcome. And really, what is more advanced than working with the higher power? But how are you working? By accepting your position. So I was like, man, should I continue the spiritual dress up of like in my past life I was some like enlightened, celestial like commander or king or something, like general or something. And I was like, I was like, it's like, yo, man, should I sacrifice thinking in my past lives I was like the commander of a celestial armada and now believe that I don't know better? Now I am in the conscious presence. It's like you're teaming up with the higher power, but no way you're equal. So my soul is serving the unimaginable higher power that all simulated reality inevitably returns to. And my mind's like, all right, man, I'm just some human in the human history being human right now. But what does it all mean? The effort, the vision, the advancement. Why can we see further than we actually are? Why is there a time dilation? Why does the mind have an ability to envision parallel realities? Why are there so many ways that we could have thought about life that we never thought about? Like, how many hidden angles are everywhere? Like, just think about that. They're like, yo, man, what is wisdom? Wisdom's realizing we've simulated a known system based on subjective models, so people don't freak out that the context and knowledge is the unknown. That means they ask the person, yo, man, you're an expert in this field. Give me an answer. The expert gave an answer. And they're like, what else, man? What's the more advanced answer? And the person's like, I'm not ChatGPT. I can't just give you a more advanced answer. But the person's like, try. And the person eventually realized all advanced actions lead to the advanced civilization. It's as if there's something so advanced and great supposed to happen in the future that the blessings that the souls are receiving on earth seem to be like an echo of a future event that has already happened. I don't know how to say it, but for me, I'm like, what's the protocol? Imagine this is spaceship Earth, and imagine a meteor was about to save Earth. Like, we'd probably be like traditional men and be like, okay, Titanic protocol, right? So like, what I'm trying to tell you is that it may end, and we don't know, but everybody eventually experiences some sort of concluding moment, I guess. But while we were here, while we were seeing it, the depth of meaning, the horizons of trying to get near truth, the realization that the mind can simulate infinite views, so which one is correct? Ego selects when the soul understands the deeper question is not how I have given it meaning. That means there are some people who fall in love with other people, and then they're like, how did that person fall in love with that person? And they're like, I fall in love with them from the first moment I saw them. That's like, no offense, but that's very close to like narcissist level. Okay, that means that what their mind saw in a person became that person. But what a person is an intelligent system generated through continuous moments as long as we're here. I firmly believe in every moment there is a genius view. Everything I have done in my life, even this talk, it's not like I've prepared for it. I just, part of me knows there's something no human being has ever seen before. But it could be through a zooming in on the micro or zooming out towards the macro of reality. Because on some level, after an intellectual realization, like you kind of realize the intellect is incomplete due to the human position, then the only thing that's been defined that's not incomplete is the soul, and the soul is defined as unknown, but it was created by the Almighty. So, as a religious person, you're not just a person, you are a soul, and this soul has capabilities. In Islam, it's kind of like gifts you're given, but also tests. Everything is a test. And at some point, you just ask yourself, I've looked at my own life, my whole life. Could it not be about me? And when you have that revelation, you suddenly understand how healthy it is to wonder about how intelligence is sourced into meaning. Its meaning is outsourced. It's not just sourced from you. I'm just trying to get a species to advance by realizing it has to notice the most advanced. The most advanced is present. When a person realizes beyond intellectual games, it's about presence. Their presence becomes a moment of being. So it's like what you are in the presence of affects you. Okay, so if you're in the presence of the original creator of the system admin in every moment, it means you are with the system admin. You understand? Call it religion, call it whatever you want, but for me it's like there's a system admin to this reality. And through Islam, I find the pure pathway towards it. Because to me, it's always a reminder that you did not create this world, so how can you act like you own what you create in it? It obviously belongs to a higher power. We have to notice this higher power, and humanity advances not just based on what one man wants or what a bunch of us want. Human civilization is advancing in accordance to how every conscious human is moving. And the force that administers that, and has administered, authorized, and restricted how moments happen, like that force knows. So we're here as humans just playing our part, noticing the system admins, maintaining the system. We've gone directly to the system admin, so there is no, I gotta do this to be this. There's no middleman or protocol, and you've just gone directly to the unimaginable power, and it's a freedom from form. If somebody says, if you're Muslim, what would you say to a Christian? I would be like, I don't know, but I think if Christ was God, from the human perspective, it's not possible, but God can do whatever God wants, of course. But at the same time, I would say it's more like that's limiting the system to the human. That means you have given divinity a body. You have made the body, the human form, divine. That means, I think, to worship the human form is not the ultimate path. Because advancement means we were never just this. Anyways, folks, thank you for listening. I hope this lecture was interesting. And I said I was going to be on Discord, but I think I'll just call it a night. I want to tell you that there's a reason existence is happening in this way. It's fascinating, and don't just thinking is just looking through different concepts. That way you can also look through different contexts and different values to how reality can or has or will animate into meaning. Like, you know what I'm saying? Reality is a deeper intelligence. That's the beauty of God. There's things we don't understand, and we don't act like we do. And I'm speaking and saying that on a species level. Anyways, thanks for listening. The advanced civilization is the blessing of the system admin upon its creation, of course. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced. Thank you for listening.